government is not included. I appreciate what Bapaji said just now about what happened in railways, but there is no redressal system which is actually recommended by the standing committee. That there is no specific word that government has to be there. So if railways we talk about is a very valid point. The story sounds very small and inconsequential in the larger game of the discussion of the bill, but it is a very valid point. It's not just what he said. I would like to add there are stories which are horrific about food adulteration at all public places. Now, who do we turn to? I want a pointed clarification from the Honorable Minister that food safety officer of every district, this comes under Ministry of Health. Now, will there be duplication of this, or if you could give me a pointed clarification that all the adulterations that we are seeing, this is also a very consumer-oriented product. Who does he or she turn to? Or like Bapaji said in his speech that he had to go to court 10 times. Can we find a better system with the help of technology which is far more effective? So I appreciate that the bill is very well-meaning, but they have not taken the recommendation of the standing committee which specifies the word government. So why has it been left out? Because it's not only adulteration. Look at healthcare and education as an example. There are so many times that you have issues because of education, because of healthcare. Who does the common man turn to? The government talks about their flagship scheme, about great healthcare. But if something goes wrong, who does the common man turn to? So could he kindly clarify on what would be the role if it's healthcare, education? Another thing is about service defects. These are all product based. So if there's a bad product, you go with the product and you will get help. But what about bad services? So how will this redressal system work for bad services given? I'll give you a very small example. If you're either in the transport business, suppose you don't get good transport at that time, or the commitment that you have paid for, what happens to service industry specifically? Because most of these rules, there's always a loophole for it. So if there could be something specific. Second thing is about labs. I would like to rethink about a big multinational which went for a lot of products. I am a mother myself. So when any product which is popular in that age group and you hear something indifferent about it, or if it's banned, the first thing every mother feels that it's obviously not good for a child. So I hope there are enough labs to support it, and every lab in this country, in state-wise, that time gave a different report. For the same product, I would not like to name the company, but UP had a separate report, Maharashtra had a separate report. So across the country, if you remember that, I'm sure Ram, you ate that product. So the whole point is who do we turn to and who do we believe? We can't go to central government and everything will be centralized at this rate. So what would so are the labs strengthened enough for adulteration and food products? And I hope it's not misused either, because the product was banned pan-India. Everybody panicked, it was removed, and then after a few tests, it became normal. So the same, was it harassment? It sort of put suspicion in my mind that was misuse of power, because it's a product consumed globally. So why was this one particularly company picked up? So these things actually put, I think, pressure on consumers because you don't know where you stand. So what is the plan for specific laboratories and technicians by this government? Second is product liability, which is applicable to all participants in the supply chain. Here the producer is at one end, the consumer is on. What about the entire food chain? Today, if there's a product which can be adulterated, what about the middle level? There are multiple agencies which can be responsible for it. Say if there is a milk product or a food product which is fresh food. Now the transporters are involved, the people who store are involved. So how will you pinpoint as who is? So in the whole food chain or a supply chain, I think everybody should have accountability. It's no point just saying only the producer is responsible. I think this has to be collective measures, and when the government gives a signal of a collective measure of zero tolerance of bad food or any adulteration, I think that's what I think the signal is. There are plenty laws in this country already. So, but adulteration is still not stopped. So I think we have put a collective mind and see how we can. I appreciate what Mr. Bapat said, that there is always a law made and somebody finds a loophole. So it's not about finding a loophole. I think the collective thought of this entire discussion today to make better rules, more stringent rules in the interest of the citizen, because I come from a state where consumer is king. Maharashtra is known for its marketing abilities always. So I think consumer is king. Let's put the consumer first and find a bill which is in the interest of the